just a real physical, hard-fought Big Ten game. We knew coming into this game it was going to be tough. Maryland was coming off maybe their best performance of the year, with the win at Illinois, which everybody knows not the easiest place to win. And you look at their roster, coming into the league, most people pick them to be in the top 3 or 4, and there's a reason why. Because you're seeing some of it now. They're athletic, they're physical. They have a great player in Jamir Young, and obviously Julian Reese is a factor down low. Dante Scott's been a stalwart in this league for a long time. So we knew what we had ahead of us tonight. Was really proud of our guys for a lot of different ways. We knew they were going to press us, especially with our, some of the, not mistakes, but some of the problems we had at Penn State with ball security and turnovers against the press. So we really worked hard the last couple of days on attacking their pressure. They switch defenses. They play a little zone. They play a little man. They try to confuse you. Kevin does a good job with that. And then I thought our guys had really good composure in those possessions. And, obviously they were switching a lot of stuff. And we switch a lot of stuff. So when you play teams that do a lot of switching, it kind of boils down to making plays versus running plays, and I think you saw 2 of the better guards. Forget about the Big Ten. You saw 2 of the better guards in the country make a lot of plays. And, just great job by our guys. They got the lead. Young hit an incredible 3. We came down. I'm not a big fan of calling timeout in those situations. The only thing I'm going to call if I call timeout is I'm going to try to get Boo the ball, and I'm going to try to give him space to operate, and he had it. So we attacked. He got a quick bucket. And then we finally got one stop, right? We were able to get Young to miss one, and Ty got a huge rebound, and then, Ty making 4 big free throws in the last 5 seconds, was huge. The way Young was throwing in shots, I didn't want to, you always play the do you foul, do you play it out? And, he was throwing in everything. I wanted to take that out of the equation, so we fouled up 3. They ended up making 2, and we had to get the ball in bounds and make 2 more free throws, which we did, and won the game, which was huge. So really proud of our guys. Big Ten, obviously, life in the Big Ten. I'll enjoy it for a couple hours tonight, maybe when I'm eating my dinner after this press conference, and then it'll be on to Nebraska.
Coach, Jamir Young outscored his teammates tonight. You've coached in this league for a long time, seen a lot of great guards. Where does that performance tonight kind of rank among those for you?
He was terrific. Off the top of my head, I just remember D'Angelo Russell doing something similar to us in my either first or second year. But you got to tip your hat to them. We were trying everything. They do a really good job. Kevin's a terrific coach, so they do a really good job of giving him space. And, he gets to that left hand, you can say, stop him from getting, but teams try to do that with Boo with his right hand too, and he gets to his right hand. So, that's what great players do. We had some breakdowns where he got some easy layups, and obviously he's an automatic free throw shooter. And then when you see the ball go in like that, then all of a sudden some of those step backs and that 3 at the shot clock buzzer, those go in when you're having that kind of night. But terrific player. One of the best, obviously, players in our league, and just fortunate to be able to get that one stop at the end when we needed it.
Coach, tonight you guys brought a lot of offense down into the bottom of the shot clock. Was that part of the game plan to limit the number of possessions that Maryland could have, or was that just not part of the flow of the offense?
Yeah, a little bit, Dave. A little bit of that is kind of how they play. They press you, with some kind of containment, and times they run traps at you. And then they come down and they kind of show zone. And then when you make a pass or 2, they go man. So what that does is it takes time, right? Unless you beat that press and you have a quick or you get a steal. So if you look at it, their teams play longer possessions against them because of the way they defend. So I think you got to have poise. I thought we did a good job of when it did get to 10 on the shot clock and they're switching defenses and we had the ball in good positions. We found guys. We had some cutters. We got some driving kick stuff. But a lot of that is just kind of the function of how they defend. They kind of make you use clock and get you deep into the clock. And that's why you got to have poise and be able to execute, under pressure there in late shot clock situations.
Coach, obviously the team didn't send Maryland to the free throw line over the first half. Can you talk about how important staying out of foul trouble is going to be moving forward, especially after Wisconsin?
Yeah, I thought it was crazy because neither team, I think we shot 2 and they shot none. And then the second half, we shot 20 and they shot 18. So it was a very physical game. But I think the way the game was called was kind of changed, in the which I'm not saying is wrong. But, in the second half, they all became fouls. Where in the first half, both teams were super physical, and it was kind of let them play. So, I think the teams were trying to adjust to that. We had like 4 fouls in the first 45 seconds, I think, of the second half. So, you guys know we're not an incredibly deep team, so we need our main guys on the floor. We got to be smart. We got to stay out of foul trouble. For the most part, we did. Ty had to sit a little bit with 3 there, but we were able to kind of steer clear. Whereas, Wisconsin last week, we had, I think, 4 guys with 2 in the first half, which kind of hamstrings the flow of the game. So it was a very physical game, both teams. But you can't, both teams shot the same amount of free throws. So it's not like you can say, it was just, it was a hard-fought physical game. And, fortunately, we made a couple more plays at the end to win.
Coach, Matt Nicholsons tonight, 10
Yeah.
points on a season-high, 9 field goal attempts. Also had 5 offensive rebounds. What can you say about his performance, especially in light of some recent lineup adjustments? I know you mentioned that you think the starter label is a little bit too much is made of it, but what do you have to say about his performance?
Yeah, I'm just really proud of Matt. I feel like the last 3 games when he has been coming off the bench, maybe have been his 3 best this year, in terms of his energy, his fight, his competitive spirit. Like I've seen that start to come back out, which is huge for us. Like we know how important he is. Like we need Matt, and he knows it. And he wants to be there for his teammates. And, he gives us 31 minutes tonight, 10 points, 7 rebounds, protects our basket. He got a big, shot block late in the game that I thought was huge. And just his ability to be a lob threat around the basket to catch and finish is huge. And like I said, he didn't start, but he played 31 minutes and he finished the game. So, that's starters minutes, so again, whether we continue to bring it, it's not a permanent thing. It was something we felt was needed a few games ago just to jumpstart kind of the starts of our games, and Luke's done a good job in that role. And I thought Matt, these last Wisconsin, I thought he was really good. And then tonight, maybe his best game of the year considering playing against Reese and the athletes in Maryland's front line.
Coach, Brooks Barnhizer had career-high 5 steals. Played 38 minutes with just 1 foul. Can you talk about his defensive activity tonight?
Yeah, stat sheet stuffer, right? For sure. Not only the 5 steals and 15 points, but 4 rebounds and 3 assists and no turnovers. So terrific performance from Brooks. He knows he's counted on. He relishes that role. He knows in order for us to win, he has to have his imprint on the game. Now, maybe it isn't always 15 points, but he's got to rebound. He's got to play defense. He's got to create, take some pressure off Buie in different areas. And I thought he had a big pull-up jump shot, late in the game when it was deep into the clock. I think it was under 5 on the shot clock. He got a little isolation there, got to his spot, knocked it in. So, I thought, and then obviously Ty hit a huge 3 at the end of the clock as well. So just proud of Brooks. He's becoming a real guy that you can count on every night to be a high-level player in this league. And, that's what he wants, and that's what we want out of him, and it's fun to see him go out there and produce.
On offense, down the stretch, you always talk about letting Buie play, letting him get in space. Defensively, though, after he scored, you called timeout and you put him on Young coming out of that timeout. He executed, got a clutch stop. Mm-hmm. What was the dialogue like during that timeout, and what did it mean to you to see him execute defensively?
Yeah, well, Buie is our best perimeter defender. Just with his experience, his quickness, you just got to be careful. I can't have him on Young the whole game because we're also expecting him to make a lot of plays for us on offense, especially in a game like this. So, but when it came down to it at the last, we kind of knew Young was going to get the ball. We knew they were going to isolate him, and it was one time to get a stop. He wanted to guard him. We wanted him on there. So it was a natural thing to say, hey, it's time to go over to Young and try to get a stop. And I thought he kept him out of the paint, made him shoot a little step back jump shot, which he can make, but obviously he's a lot better when he gets downhill going to his left hand.
Coach, you're 5-0 after losses this year. Is that something that you think plays a role? After a loss, this team gets a little more motivated.
Yeah, potentially. I just think it's a sign, guys, of this league. Teams are going to lose some games. We lost at Wisconsin. In a game that was tied with 2 minutes to go. they're a good team. I mean, Wisconsin's pretty good. They're in first place. We lost at Illinois. We didn't play our best, but they're a pretty damn good team. Like, you're going to lose some games, especially on the road, but the mark of a good team is not letting one loss trigger into 2, 3, 4, because that's when your season can start to get away from you. And I think the teams that are going to emerge this year in the race are going to be the teams that, when they take a loss, can you then bounce back and get a win the next time out? And that's what we talked about. Like, hey guys, we fought. We did a lot of good things up in Madison. It was a heck of a fight. We came up short. Give them credit. They made a couple shots. We turned it over. They beat us. Well, you got to come home now and you got to win against another really good team. And, that was kind of the message coming into tonight.
So far in conference play, this team's really excelled at three-point making and has struggled at times rebounding. And tonight, that was kind of flipped. What does that say about this team's ability to win in different ways?
Yeah, I just think we have winning character in our locker room. The only agenda in that locker room is winning. It starts from your best player. A guy like Boo, he comes back for his 5th year. He wants to win. It's not about records. It's not about numbers. He wants to win again. And, then it trickles down to the rest of the guys and the other veteran guys. You guys like Ty Berry, Matt Nicholson that won, they want to win again. So, they're talking about winning. That's the focus. And every game's going to entail different things. You just don't know what's the game going to throw at you? Do you have foul trouble? Is it an up and down game? Is it a grinder that you got to find a way to win, a defensive battle? Is it a real physical game? Like, every game in this league, people have different styles, games go different ways, and you got to figure it out, within the course of the game, and that was what we had to do tonight. And I was proud of the guys, whether it was a rebound or getting a steal or having to execute or, fouling up 3, at the end of the game. We had to make winning plays, and we fortunately we did.
Matt. Coach, you've won all your Big Ten games by scoring 70 or more. That's 4. Last year you had 6 the whole time. Do you feel like the team's identity has changed, or do you feel that it's more of just inputting different talents into the same system and identity as last year?
Yeah, I just think, to be quite frank, we were probably a little bit further along defensively with last year's team. Certainly Chase plays a big part in that. I mean, when you have the defensive player of the year and his ability to wreak havoc, and we had some guys. Robbie Barron was a really good defender. Julian Roper, who we had, was a good defender. Titus Verhoeven, really good defender. So we lost some good defenders. Our guys are battling. We're getting better at that end. I think we're showing signs. But I do think we're flowing probably a little bit better. Like, we had our struggles last year. I mean, you guys asked me. I mean, you saw Ty's numbers last year. Now you look at him now, the way he's shooting the ball, what Ryan's been able to bring, the emergence of Brooks, who's a real unique offensive player, Nick Martinelli, who can score the ball. So, I think we have, maybe some more offensive weapons, maybe that we didn't have as much last year. And we had to really, if we didn't hold a team down, we had a hard time winning, because I told you guys, like, any games that got to 70 or 80, I didn't feel comfortable last year. Not that I didn't think we could score. That just wasn't how that team was wired. This is a different team. We're a little bit more free-flowing. Guys are really, playing well with each other. We're sharing the ball well. Guys are shooting the ball well. So when you do that, your offensive efficiency is going to be better. And we have to continue to try to strive. We're not where that last year's team was yet defensively, and that was a tip in the cap to those guys and what they became. And we want to get there, and we're working on it. And hopefully, as we keep playing and getting better, we can keep improving on that end as well.
Just to follow up on that, how do you feel you have improved just since the beginning of this month of conference play in terms of getting rotations and having guys in the right spots and limiting those breakdowns defensively?
Yeah, I think the more games you play, especially as a coach, you start to kind of figure out how to, it takes a while, guys, to figure out rotations and how to make sure that you never have a lineup on the floor that, you can lose a game if you get a lineup on the floor that's not a great lineup, that's struggling to score, struggling to defend, a team goes on a 10-0 run or something like that. So I think we're finding ways. Obviously, we played 7 guys tonight, 8 guys. Blake came in and played a possession, but we're finding ways to kind of rest our main guys. They're going to play big minutes, but we got to use our timeouts wisely. We got to sub, finding times to rest Boo. Like you see, we try to rest him around timeouts. We try to use our timeouts wisely where you can get him a little rest, where he's got energy at the end of the game, because that's when you need him. You saw tonight. We needed every bit of it the last 2 minutes. So, just learning about the team, learning about rotations. Guys are getting better. Emergence of Luke Hunger coming into his own, really being able to help us has been a big thing, and now getting Matt. We really Matt is playing more to the level kind of we saw for the bulk of last year now, which has been exciting. So I say it all the time, like you have to improve as a season. You can't, even if you're playing well, like this league is too well coached. Coaches with adjustments and game plans and things like that. If you're not constantly getting better, if you're not constantly tinkering with your defense, with your offense, finding ways to score, finding ways to get stops, you're going to get left behind in this league. So we got to keep improving in all areas, and that'll be the point of emphasis. Got another big game, got to go the road. I mean, Nebraska's great at home and a really good team, much improved to me, an NCAA tournament caliber type team, a lot of veterans, really well coached. So we got to get our rest tonight, and guys get some food in them, come tomorrow and put a couple of days to take it on the road and see what we can do Saturday afternoon.
Coach, you talked about having the winning identity in your locker room with Boo and those guys, having more experience and more winning experience. Do you feel like there's a different tenor in kind of those end of game conversations in the huddle, a little more comfort, or is it kind of the same it's always been?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Matt. I think, and it's never about trying to lose, but I think when you're emerging as a program or you're the one thing about the winning programs is there's a cockiness, or there's an arrogance about like we're here, we're supposed to win. And I think as we've been building, we've tried to get over the hump and get to the point to be that consistent winner. I think at times it was, we hope we lose. We were trying not to lose, but it was more like instead of we're going to win, like I hope we win. And now when we're in huddles, the way guys are talking when you get to the last 4 minutes, and you don't always win, you don't always come through. But the way we're talking now is, hey, this is what we did. Like, it's a close game. This is where we get a stop. This is where we score, and we're going to win this game. And you can only get that by winning. I mean, you can tell guys to believe that, but unless you go through it, unless you win and go out there and do it under game pressure, like you're not going to have that confidence, that cockiness about winning. But like what our guys have done, they've done a lot of winning. I mean, I think someone put a graphic up, one of the games I was watching. I'm always watching games, but if you look from February 1st last year, up until now, I think we're in the top 5, maybe even the top 3 in terms of best record in the conference, because that's a testament to our players, because we're playing against great competition. And so you get confidence when you do it. And, we got a lot of guys that have now won, and they believe in themselves, and it really helps when you get in those pressure cooker situations. All right, stay warm, guys.
Yeah, Brooks, you had 5 of the team's 10 steals. Can you kind of talk about like your defensive intensity in the first half, especially, and just kind of having those points on the turnovers? I think the team had 7 in the first 3 minutes. So.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just like I think I've said this before, but like with our defense and like kind of like our rotations, like CeeLo always be like, if you're like where you're supposed to be, like we should get some steals. That's really, I just felt like I was really where I was supposed to be in the first half, kind of like disrupting passing lanes, kind of making stuff a little harder. So I think that's why I got the steals, and I was just trying to be in the right spot, and I ended up with 5.
Brooks, can you talk about your team's rebounding today? You held Maryland to less than half of their season average in offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I think it was huge. I mean, I remember like games at the start of the year, I'd look up and like I got like 12 or like I got 10 rebounds. Now, like if I get 4, I mean, like I think I looked up at the end of the game, and I think like 3 of my teammates had 7 and another one had 4, and it's awesome that everybody's hungry to get on the glass now, and it makes like everybody's job easier. Like if I'm boxing out a guy that's scratching the glass, Boo's gonna come in and get the rebound. Like we don't have to like hope like like one of our centers or someone is just gonna like get every rebound. We all kind of want to go in there and get it. So I think it's huge for us, huge for our success.
Mm-hmm.
The game was obviously physical both first and second half, but Coach talked a little bit about the difference in foul attempts and officiating in the 2 halves. Can you talk about kind of how challenging it is to switch gears from minimal calls in the first half to a little bit more contact called in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult in the first half, or to start the second half. Well, in the first half there was no fouls called. I think like two free throws were shot from us and none from Maryland. And like you said, in that second half coming out, we had like 4 or 5 fouls like in the first 4 minutes. And then I believe with like 15 minutes left in the game, we were already in the one-on-one. So it was super challenging, you know, because you can't really be that physical. You want to be physical and play hard, but you also have to be smart because you don't want the clock stopping and them just getting continuous free throws. So it's hard when you get in that position. Obviously, you don't want to be in the bonus with 15 minutes left in the second half. But yeah, I thought it was challenging because you can't be as physical and stuff. So your defense tends to just naturally lighten up. But we did a good job of, you know, being able to stay tough and play hard without fouling.
So, Boo, can you talk about your comfort in these end of game moments, having been in this position so many times?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been in a position so many times where I've lost and where I've also won. So, you know, I kind of just take the two memories and, you know, I like the winning memory more. And, you know, I just have unbelievable confidence in myself. It helps that my teammates and my coaches have unbelievable confidence in me too. And so, you know, I kind of just try to make the right play every time and try to put my team in a position to win. And, you know, they do a good job of getting me in good positions.
Yeah, I guess for either of you, obviously Matt had 10 points and 7 rebounds. Can you just talk a little bit about how important his offensive production is going to be, both on the boards and just scoring for the front court and just going forward for the offense?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Big Matt he's a huge piece to what we do, especially on the defensive end. You know, when Matt's rebounding and challenging and protecting the rim and rolling and getting lob dunks, you know, he's a heck of a player. And you know, Matt's been stepping it up the last 2 games, so super proud of him. Just more room to keep going. But you know, he played really well tonight. He had some big time offensive rebounds. So yeah, that was a good job, Matt.
Boo, could you talk about some of the challenges of going up against a guard like Jamir Young, and how would you characterize the battle between you two tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we switch a lot. We switch 1 through 4, obviously. So you know, obviously he's a good player. He was all league last year, and he was able to get downhill and draw some fouls. And I think he ended up with 30-something points. But you know, I think overall, you know, we did enough as a team, you know, to be able to pull out the win. So you know, credit to him for, you know, be able to get downhill and still make plays. But you know, we got stops when it mattered.
For either of you, Coach took some time to talk about the culture you guys have built here, and it's a winning culture. Boo, I guess more for you, you've been here a long time. What's been the biggest change in the culture since you've arrived on campus 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, when I first arrived here, we kind of didn't really have any leadership from a team standpoint. You know, obviously we had great coaches and stuff, but there wasn't really a connectedness in the group. And you know, that's just something we kind of focused on going into last season. You know, everyone being connected and on the same page, and you know, also our toughness. You know, we're just a lot more tough than my first couple years here, and I think that's the difference, honestly, just our toughness and our relentlessness to, you know, go out there and try to win these games.
Boo, last year against Maryland, you had just 4 points. Is that something you think about ahead of this? And also, in what ways do you feel like your game has developed since that last game?
Yeah, well, I think that's the best part about my game. You know, I try to make plays and make others around me better. So, you know, obviously, you know, it depends on how the defense is guarding me. I don't really think about points. I just think about winning. And if they want to take me away, I'll take 25 assists, 0 points. But then if they don't want to guard me, I'll also take 25 points, 2 assists. So, you know, I kind of just try to pick and choose, like, when to attack and when to shoot. And, you know, my teammates do a great job of playing off of me, cutting. Brooks does a great job cutting out the corners and giving me little gaps when I'm getting downhill to make plays. So, honestly, I just try to do what's right.
Just as a quick follow-up, do you feel like the game has slowed down for you a lot as you've developed in college?
Yeah, for sure. You know, obviously I've been here for a long time now, and you know, I continue to work on my game, and you know, my confidence is growing, and obviously, you know, I've been in certain situations, so I kind of have a better feel for, you know, what to do, what's a good shot, what's a bad shot, what's the right play, what's the wrong play. And like I said before, my teammates and my coaches have unbelievable confidence in me, and whenever someone has a confidence in you, you know, it can really drive things further.
Matt? Brooks, in your first 2 Big Ten games this year as kind of like the team's second leading scorer, you had 8 and 9 points. Last 4, it's been 13 or more. Do you attribute that to like kind of like the healthier hand, or is that just more of a progression? What's kind of helped you take it up a notch?
Yeah, I think It's just kind of like been confidence. And I think I kind of like been playing my game. Like the hand definitely feels a lot better. So I'm sure that's a little aspect of it, but it's just kind of like being me. I think I was kind of getting away from that and maybe forcing a little too much, especially early on, trying to like to have people take pressure off of Boo. But yeah, I mean, I think as my hand's gotten better, I'm just kind of, my confidence has stepped up. And like I know how good of a player I can be and how good of a player I am. So, just going out there doing, everything to help my team wins really, I think, improve my play.
I assume you hit your longest floater tonight. Obviously, that halftime buzzer, but just inside the three-point line. Can you talk about how you develop that? I mean, for most basketball players, no, that's not an easy shot to perfect, especially when you get beyond 15 feet or the free throw line. Can you just talk about your development with that shot specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up shooting the floater my whole life because I always played outside at the park, and no one can shoot outside.
Double
like,
rim.
yeah, that double rim with the wind, like you're not shooting much. So I also was like small and super skinny and like weak. Not that I'm some big, huge, strong guy now, but I used to just always play against older guys. I have a lot of older brothers, and obviously a bunch of them played Division I themselves, and so they were just bigger and older and stronger, and so I had to find ways to be able to get my shot off, or else it would just get blocked. There was no, letting me score and stuff like that. So it was just finding ways to be able to get the shot off. That's like when I was younger, all I cared about was at least being able to shoot it. Then that way I had a chance of scoring. So kind of just playing against older people in the park, just finding ways to get the shot off. And then obviously I've been drilling it, working on it all the time. Obviously I don't work on them from that far, but I'm just really comfortable with the touch of the shot. So that's what it is.
More questions? Wrap us up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.